Is he there?
That's what I'm trying to say, Chandravali. He's there.
Sorry?
Is he busy at Soho?
Sorry, that's what you said.
Sorry?
Is it busy at Soho? You got to come back.
Yeah. Well, I was planning to come back this time anyway. So
Oh, I
Just
thought
'cause-
you was
no,
coming
it's-
back to the bus.
it's quite busy here. So I'm going to create some room for them to have their guests coming. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So we are on a book called the Sankalpa, the Moonbeam of Determination. And we are continuing with a chapter which is now beginning to actually describe the details of Sankalpas. It's called Types of Sankalpas, chapter 15. Lots of devotees coming in. Great. And we're on page 200, we're on page 275. 275, beginning an interesting feature of determination. So if anyone would like to read, you can raise your hand.
I can read.
Go ahead then, or Chandravali, you can.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking somebody else might. Okay.
275, you can.
5, and an interesting feature of determination is the success, failure, and even fall down that may precede and inspire
Precede
and inspire it. Obviously, success inspires success. Yet, at the same time, Srila Prabhupada wrote, failures may not be detrimental. They may be pillars of success. Such an approach or mindset inspires in devotees a more calculated kind of determination. Gop Kumar was repeatedly successful in the chanting of his mantra and so was elevated to increasingly spiritual realms. This success made him determined to advance further, even though great authorities like Narad advised him against such a difficult undertaking. On the other hand, it can be seen that failure in bhakti leads to determination of the Lord's lotus feet, either immediately or eventually. So Bari Muni fell into household life as a result of his offense to Garuda. However, when many years later he meditated on the cause of his entanglement, he received renewed inspiration and, along with his wives, departed for Vrindavan forest. In a similar vein, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was unable to understand how Kaviraj Goswami identified the 24 and a half syllables of the Kamagayatri mantra. Considering his inability to be an absolute failure, he contemplated suicide. In response to which, Sri Radha appeared in a dream and resolved his dilemma. In this and many other ways, success and failure are an impetus for the determined vows for perfection. Another inspiration that gives birth to different kinds of determination is the kind of bhakti being practiced. There are two kinds of sadhana, regulated and spontaneous. The essence of regulated devotion is that determination is inspired by some external factor, scriptural injunction, order of the Guru, or the need to advance. But spontaneous devotion is inspired by taste and attachment. A devotee does not have to be determined. He is already so because he has an insatiable desire to want to be so. Let us first hear of sankalpas in regulated devotion. The instructions and exemplary conduct of Vaishnavas are significant sources of inspiration, even when they appear to be indirect. Take Prahlad Maharaj, for example. He maintained an unimaginable determination based on having heard from his guru Narad Muni, even while in his mother's womb. And another young boy, Dhruva, felt left for the jungle to find God, an action based simply on the advice of his mother, a Vaishnavi. No doubt readers have their own stories of becoming inspired to heights of devotion by reading the books of Srila Prabhupada, like Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, or the commentaries of acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti. There are many anecdotes of devotees who received one of Srila Prabhupada's books, reading which they turned their back to all material pursuits and gave their lives to serve Lord Gauranga's mission. Just a few weeks before writing these lines, the author was told of a recent story of a young man who saw no future for himself in the world and was wandering in a remote forest with the aim of ending his life. Although he knew of no means by which to do that, sitting down on a rock in the middle of nowhere, he looked down at the ground to see an invitation to a nearby Hare Krishna center, yoga, meditation, and spiritual wisdom. Just seeing a picture of Krishna awakened in him something very similar, something very real, and so he returned to the world to become a devotee. That is determination arising from seeing a picture of Krishna and possibly from impressions of previous lives.
Okay, perhaps we'll just pause there. So Raj got a very nice example at the end there. And as you
Yeah,
said, I'm sure we've all got our stories of how we might have first become determined in Krishna consciousness. I know Mother Chandravali, I've often mentioned, you tell the story of Sakiras Prema coming into your shop and
yeah.
in his wonderful way, convincing you to take books, etc. But would anyone like to share an initial inspiration that perhaps they had that put them on the path of devotion? Put on the path of here in the context of determination to take to devotional service. I think for myself, it might be, because there's 4 reasons to come to Krishna. Chatova Mam Juna Sikritina Arjuna Artiknashi Artati Ganicha Prasaba. So it might be distress, some might be inquisitive, some might be searching for knowledge. Did I miss one? I missed one. Inquisitive, searching for knowledge, distress, and searching for wealth. Yeah. So for me, it was a mixture, I think. My first determinations were my apathetic material life. I found that quite a dead end. So I was kind of searching for something else. And first, actually, it was Prabhupada's books. Actually, it was The Science of Self-Realization that I read. And from that, I became a little bit of determination arose in me, which then built over time. And that's what Margie is mentioning here, the different sankalpas you make in the beginning. So anyone else like to can recall those first steps in your spiritual life that brought you to the temple, that made you open a book, or devotee you met?
I was thinking how Maharaj is saying from seeing picture of Krishna and impression from your previous lives as well. You know, like when he
Yeah,
saw the picture, it just woke up all his, because devotion is there, eternal. It's just,
yeah.
you know,
So yeah, you're saying from a previous life,
yeah,
the inspiration comes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Because the
sure.
ones, wherever one stopped, they will start up in the
Yeah.
next life. So maybe
Yeah.
this person needed that little
Well, that's quite an
inspiration.
amazing story that Marge tells, just
Mm-hmm.
about to end his life. And I've heard other stories like that as well. I've heard stories like someone's in the car just about to suffocate themselves with the exhaust, fumes, and then a devotee comes by, knocks on a window, and then distributes a book to them, just as they're in the process of starting the engine to end their life. Magical. Only Krishna can do that, the master of mystics. All right, let's see if anyone's going to give us some, share some in some beginning inspirations. Doesn't have to be too personal. You can keep it general. Everyone's waiting for everyone else.
Prabhu,
So,
Hare Krishna.
Nitai Mata, yeah, tell us about your first inspiration, your first sankalpa.
Okay. I don't know whether it will connect here, but you know, that picture, it didn't really. First, when I went to Damodar Pradesh, Dubai, Sangha, they had, and the altar they had, because we didn't have the deities. It is just a Sangha, it is a big gathering, big congregation. So, the that picture, Prabhu, we have in the temple room that Srimati Radharani is onto Krishna's shoulder, that picture.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
The one we
that
have
was
by Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, yes. So,
Okay.
and that was very beautiful. But I was thinking, oh, Krishna like that, okay. But I really, for me, I felt like Srimati Radharani has, this is what I felt, taken full shelter of the Lord, just giving herself totally.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So that inspired you to perhaps give yourself also to Krishna.
yeah, I don't
Yeah, you saw
know.
Radharani.
That is a long way to go, Prabhu. I'm trying.
No, but the principle, I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what you're
Yeah,
doing. We're trying to give
so,
ourselves over to Krishna. Of course, we
yeah, I
cannot
was,
match Radharani.
that was very, very, and that picture is much, much beautiful than the temple picture.
Yeah, that temple picture I don't like because it makes Krishna, he's painted like an American weightlifter.
Yeah.
It's an American weightlifter with big arms, muscle. That's not how Krishna should be depicted, actually. Anyway, okay, thank you for that, Nitai Mata. Anybody else? Perhaps let's have one more person. If you perhaps can think back, we're going to do a regression now. Think back, step back, not to your next life. Your first contact.
Mine was really strange
Yeah.
because I come from a Jain background.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, I was trying to follow Jainism.
All right.
And I couldn't understand it. And my mum used to offer boga to Krishna, a picture of Krishna. So all my life, most of my life, I've had prasad.
Right.
and and I can't remember how I joined even. And my brother and my sister are pretty strong devotees. So somehow I just followed.
So, yeah.
And then my Maharaj was very, very strong, strict.
Yeah, Krishna was
And it just happened.
Yeah. So you could say then that point of just you taking prashadam,
Yeah.
that's what impelled you towards a life of bhakti, which is quite understandable. You've been taking prashadam your whole life.
You know, my mom used to offer big roses back home. And the three of us used to eat all the petals because we thought anything that's offered, we have to eat.
I know some people used to do that as well. They eat the flowers of it to Krishna.
And
All right.
Kanami Mataji got that picture, which I'm referring to, on her wall.
Who?
Kanama is,
Oh yeah, Kurunamai, yeah, just behind you
yeah,
on your right-hand side is the picture that Nitai Mata is speaking about. This is a picture that inspired her when she was in Damodar Desh. Yeah. There's
something so we can see the picture.
That's the American. So I can just
but that picture is very nice, blue Krishna.
How about that? I've just pinned Kunamai so you can see it more now. All right. Right, so there's, I suppose you can, all can, that might take some time to reflect back. But that's first what Marge is bringing up here. This is the sankalpa or the determinations, but they're in the beginning stages. So that's regulated devotion. Yeah, he's given an example of that. You know, like perhaps let's have.
Is it
Mother,
okay if I add something here?
please, yes, Mother.
Yeah, my experience was I visited ISKCON only once in 2013. After that, I was a Shaivite all through my life.
All
All through my life, Om Namah Shivaya, all the time. And once I have came on to the steps, they did a tilak on my face. The
really?
guest greetings.
This is our temple.
And after that, yeah, they did the tilak on my forehead. That's the first time I had a tilak.
Tilak
And
Dharana.
since then, my mood changed. Yeah, and my mood
Wow.
changed. And I started coming to the temple. And slowly from Shaivite to I have become a Vaishnavite. I don't know whether I have or not. Still in the process.
So you put that down to it.
No service is small. Like every service, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very powerful. Tilak Dharanam, coming up the stairs and getting stamped. You was stamped as a Vaishnavi. You got the Vaishnavi stamp. There's
Yeah.
no going back.
Prabhu,
My experience.
Shiva.
but Prabhu, she was serving Lord Shiva.
Yes.
Lord Shiva can do to her, rather promoting. That's all.
Yeah, I think we told that story. That story is related in Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, isn't it? Remember?
Yes,
Maharaj
it
tells
is,
the
yeah.
story of just a devotee in Coventry.
Yeah.
Haridas. Haridas. And,
Haridas and his wife.
Chitananda, some story we read.
yeah.
No,
Maharaj talked
yeah.
about Haridas getting married to his wife,
Yeah.
Brahmachari, who was
Yeah.
Shiva Bhakta, and he, yeah.
And then Lord Shiva appeared in her dream and gave her blessings and permission to worship Krishna.
Yeah, that's my story as well, anyway.
Yeah. All right. So, and thank you for sharing that, both. If anyone else wants to, you're quite welcome. If not, we can read. We can read on. All right. We'll ask Mother Gaia to read. She has a hand up. She doesn't. Top of 277, I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Are you there, Mother Gaia? She might be busy. Perhaps so we'll call on Anupama. Anupama. Are you there?
I thought that
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna, can read from top of page 277.
Okay. All the aforementioned examples are of regulative devotion. However, the fortunate sadhaka who has natural attraction for the service of the divine couple, either as a conditioned or a liberated soul, is inspired in a way that may be compared to an obsession. In the following verse, Srimati Radharani gives vent to such obsession, admitting that despite her dishonest dealings, despite wanting to, she could not stop talking about Krishna. Like a hunter, he cruelly shot the king of the monkeys with arrows. Because he was conquered by a woman, he disfigured another woman who came to him with lusty desires. And even after consuming the gifts of Bali Maharaj, he bound him up with ropes as if he were a crow. So let us give up all friendship with this dark-complexioned boy, even if we cannot give up talking about him. The contrast between spontaneous and regulative determination is clear. Whereas a regulative devotee takes vows to serve Krishna, a spontaneous devotee's entire life is a vow, for he cannot but serve the Lord. His natural realized condition is to be a servant. Of course, the degree of Radha's obsession with Krishna is unique. Still, a spontaneous love exists to lesser degrees in those who follow her style of devotion and the devotion of the Rajbasis. This self-motivating, self-fueling stimulus is also known as spiritual greed, as has been described in the earlier cited verse, beginning with Krishna Bhakti Rasa. By way of conclusion, the determination of a spontaneous devotee is as unique as his brand of devotion. And yet, that is the inspiration that is that a regulated devotee in the service of Lord Chaitanya aspires for. We have explained that determination may be spontaneous or forced, based on two kinds of practice, Raga Bhakti and Vedi Bhakti respectively. Additionally, because these two also mix, there is an additional range of vows that lead to a devotee to Krishna's abodes, such as Golaka or Dwarka, with pure spontaneous devotion characterized by greed leading to Vraj. It may now be obvious to the reader that the determinations driving bhakti are manifold. In addition to the above vows, we describe the following. A devotee who is faithful to the Varna ashram social divisions will be enthused in his devotional practices by the callings of his Varna or ashram. For example, a Grihastha Brahmana will be encouraged to study Vaishnava scriptures to fulfill his duty to teach, while a Grihastha Vaishya will be encouraged in his occupation so as to donate the results of his work to a devotional cause, such as the construction of a temple. In this way, both the devotees are encouraged to serve through the calling of their work. Similarly, as part of new life, a novice brahmachari will adopt devotional practices such as study of scripture, service to Guru, and rising early, while a sannyasi will renounce the sense objects and use them in service of Krishna. Either directly or indirectly, when these vows and others are adopted by Vaishnava followers of the four Varnas and ashrams, those Vaishnavas progress further in devotion. Determination to continue in devotional life or to bring about a significant change in it may come to a devotee in subtle or sublime ways. There are many instances whereas dreams are the cause of determination. For example, Krishna Das Kaviraj dreamt that Lord Nityanand ordered him to leave his home and travel to Vrindavan, where all his desires would be fulfilled. Similarly, after repeatedly dreaming that his spiritual master was encouraging him towards renunciation, Srila Prabhupada left family life and began in earnest his mission of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. A devotee of lesser caliber may have dreams of varying degrees of authenticity, and yet it is these very visions that often inspire a practitioner to higher stages of devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks of another kind of inspiration, of which he is the direct cause. Sitting within the heart of his devotees, Krishna often gives him guidance as to the voice of his conscience, or in the form of a personal dictate. He says, "To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance." To summarize, these are multifarious causes of determination, and what may inspire one devotee may not inspire another one. Ultimately, we may assess the value of an impetus by its results in furthering pure devotion. This conclusion follows Srila Prabhupada's oft-quoted maxim of logic, Palena phala karanam ayumiyante. By seeing a result, one can understand the cause of a result. Thus, if a devotee finds a source of inspiration by which to rise closer to Bhava Bhakti, that source is a welcome component of his sadhana. The following section categorizes sankalpas in relation to their relevance to
perhaps you would just pause there, Mother.
Okay.
Just pause there. Okay, any questions or comments on this? Raj is really detailing determination. And you probably noticed that it's something that should be accompanying us all the time. So we can never rest on our laurels, so to speak. You know, we'd always having. And Krishna, you know, as this verse explains, samsatata yuktanam, if our life is dedicated towards Krishna, or to that degree that it is, if our life is dedicated towards Krishna, then Krishna is going to be inspiring us He's going to be giving us inspirations. Yeah, because also Krishna wants us. Actually, Prabhupada says in one place that Krishna wants us to come back to him more than what we want to go back. So Krishna within the heart is going to inspire the sadhaka, yeah, to achieve different, achievements. So you can understand it's quite dynamic, like what's giving us determination now, what's inspiring us now, should increase and grow. And Maharaj, next year we'll speak about determinations. So we begin speaking about determinations for devotees at the higher stages of devotional service. He will give us summary of it. Then he also spoke about the natural, dutiful determinations in Varna and Ashram. Like he gave the example of a Grihastha Brahman. Should be encouraged to study and teach. Someone else, a Grihastha Vaishya, will be determined to make money. Yeah. And I know a couple. I know one devotee. I remember he always thinks about money. Thinks about money for Krishna though, but he's always got some project, something he's selling. He's always wheeling and dealing something. He's always trying to make money, sometimes succeeding. Yes, mother.
About this, I didn't understand it. Well, I want to understand more.
Yeah.
This is one, two, three. This is the first page, 277. After that, the contrast between, of course, after that, and by the way, the conclusion, the determination of a spontaneous devotee is as unique as his brand of devotion.
Yeah.
What does that mean, brand of devotion, Prabhu?
Right, it means everyone's specific devotional sentiment towards Krishna is actually different. We are all distinct individuals. So one person's particular brand of affection and love for Krishna is going to be different than someone else. Obvious example, Radharani and the gopis, they have a different mood than the gopas do. So okay. Yeah. Anything else on these couple of pages? Yes, please.
Sorry, Prabhu, can I ask a small question, please, Prabhu?
You can.
On page 278, they're talking about dreams. In many instances, is saying, where dreams are the cause of determination. Prabhu, does that mean that it's only the pure devotees that will have dreams, or will it be anyone that can have a dream as a direction from Krishna to say, you need to do this or you need to do that? Would there be only pure devotees that will have dreams?
Well, I think you're speaking about, when you say pure devotees, you're speaking about, say, Uttama Bhaktas or very advanced devotees. Yes. Because even if one is not an Uttama, they still can be a pure devotee. So
so anybody can have dreams. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure some of you might have had dreams. They can. Okay. Krishna may inspire. It's one of the ways that Krishna often can inspire his devotees. They have certain dreams that come. I don't know if anyone wants to if we go down the dream road, anyone wants to reveal some dreams they might have had. But I've had a couple of small ones which has been inspiring. I don't get them so often, once every 15 years or so, a few seconds.
But Prabhu, I find that I've heard that like karmis even get dreams. They say, oh, someone might come to the temple for the first time and said, oh, I dreamt Krishna came to me in my dream and said, do this or do that. Or Prabhupada, many Prabhupada as well. They're not even devoted.
I think I shared that experience I had on a marathon. There's one lady, she came up, young girl, must have been 25, perhaps 22. Dressed like she was typical Westerner, of course. And she was just kind of in a mesmerized way. She was looking at the table, and I was trying to get her attention, but she was more interested in the table where the books were, and she wasn't really wasn't really listening to me, us, you know. And then I realized she was looking at a specific book, and I asked her, which book are you looking at? And she was looking at the Krishna book, you know, big Krishna with Krishna on the front. And she explained that Krishna had appeared to her, and it's the first time she's seen the picture of the person who came in her dream. And she said, "Yeah, this." Get the details of what she said, but in essence, I came away with remembering that Krishna assured her that everything's going to be okay for her. And she was wide eyes looking at, she's this person appeared in my dream.
Oh,
Okay,
wonderful.
that was amazing. That was, of course, she took the Krishna book.
Oh, you were explaining that to the book table that day.
I remember.
You was there, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, I was there, Prabhu. You were explaining. This the girl. I remember this girl also.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Thank you for bringing up Anupama, and also Lamangalatika is making that point that even Krishna can appear in non-devotees. Of course, it may be more rare, but so what to speak of devotees? Yeah, to give them inspiration, because it's very important. Because I think Maharaj might mention at some point that one of the problems in spiritual life maybe is that we lose determination for one reason or another, you know, maybe overexpose ourselves to the material energy, or maybe contemplating the objects of the senses, or maybe we've made some offenses. So sometimes we might find ourselves losing our determination. So the idea is that we should be able to maintain that determination over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 50 years, 60 years. We should carry on that determination. Every day we pick up our bee bag and we're determined to chant with attention. Every day we should have that determination. At least I want to chant attentively. You know.
Prabhu, I was just thinking.
Yes.
But I don't know what my this little few years. What I'm thinking, what I'm feeling is, it is the offenses maybe troubling me, because for me, I'm thinking about myself, because you said exposed to Maya, different days, objects, and everything. I'm thinking, I'm feeling like that, Prabhu, because sometimes you get your determination get little bit deteriorated, I could say. And maybe due to offenses, because we don't know also. Maybe we are thinking we are right, but maybe that's an offense, you know.
Yeah. So sometimes we have to, maybe, but maybe not as well. Sometimes we just have to, I'm trying to think of the word we have to reassess our spiritual practices and reapply ourselves. You know, perhaps we're not getting up as early as we used to, and we're not chanting as many rounds as we used to before we got into our daily activities. Or sometimes we may not have. One of the things that Marge mentions actually how to address losses of determination is that devotees should make use of the festivals that come and absorb themselves. Go to the temple, make a visit to the temple if you haven't been. If you find yourself losing determination, go to a temple, take part in the festival, put on tilak, do something different, perhaps wake up a little bit earlier, go to sleep a little bit earlier. I'm trying to say it's an individual thing. So if we find ourselves losing determination, perhaps we have to reflect on we may have to reflect on our interactions. Perhaps we have made an offense.
Actually, more than losing determination, losing the track to do things, to organize myself. Uh, mm,
Yeah. Also, it might simply be also because we're not liberated souls, then we're influenced by the three modes of material nature.
I was going to say that.
You know, yeah. So therefore, we might be falling down into the realms, down in the modes of the frogs and the toads. So therefore, we can't be bothered. You know, the mode of ignorance can't be bothered. Can't be bothered to do this. Can't be bothered to do that. Can't be bothered to read. Can't be bothered to go to temple. Can't be bothered to get up early. Sometimes though, so we have to kind of. That's why it's good to associate with devotees as well, because even if we're in a mode of ignorance, if we drag our ignorant self into the assembly of Vaishnavas, it's going to have effect on us, whether we like it or not. We're going to be contaminated with the mode of goodness.
That's exactly what I was listening, what you said, that when you are in the association of devotees, you are really fired up and want to do, and say if you're not, and a slight disturbance happens to you, to lose it, you know.
Yeah.
But as long as you're in the temple, you're in festival, you're with the devotees, you're really like high.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's also because we're practicing to one degree or another Vaidhi sadhana. So we are very much dependent on the external stimuli of devotional practice. Whereas someone who's at a more advanced stage of bhava, they're self-fueled. The fuel is coming from within. So even if they live on a desert island with no books, no temple, no anything, they're going to be inspired. But we're not on that level, so therefore we have to keep ourselves inspired by association of devotees, keep ourselves determined. Like that.
This Damni was telling me, she was talking to Kadambakana Maharaj, and like they were talking about him like leaving, and he says, "Don't worry, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and serve Srila Prabhupada here. You know, like I'm going to come back here. I want to come back here."
Really?
You know?
Let's see if Krishna agrees with that. Krishna might have other ideas, but yeah. So there's a determination. Maharaj has this determination. He wants to continue serving the movement in his next life.
In class also yesterday, he said, "Guru, I'm there." To one disciple, he said.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that in Satchinanda Maharaj. Yeah, I will manifest in Satchinanda Maharaj.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah. After that, he said, "I'm there." Yeah.
Yeah. So from the perspective of determination, you can see with Kadambakana Maharaj, he was determined anyway. But his notice of death has not had any effect on his determination. If anything, it's become more apparent. So actually, and who could we say? I was just thinking of him the other day. I saw a picture and trying to understand a phenomenal person. There's one person in our movement who is, you could say, has been through so much, but he remains so determined. I say he's been Jayapataka Maharaj.
Yeah, I mean.
Now, what's going on with him is absolutely phenomenal.
He's breathing. He's not sitting in one place and like, oh, I'm not well and everything. He's just going everywhere.
Completely, so many health issues above health issues on health issues on health issues. Perhaps if those things happen to us, you know, that was it. We're curled up in a room somewhere and just that's it. If I'm in a wheelchair, man, I can't go to a festival. I'm in a wheelchair. How can you expect me to attend a festival or do this or do that or attend a meeting, GBC meetings? I'm disabled now. But no, Mark, it is unworldly actually. I mean, his determination.
His servants complains that they can't keep up with him.
Yeah, can't keep up.
When he couldn't even speak much, he was giving classes and they will translate it. I mean, he wants to preach, you know.
So there's an example of someone who's who's self-fueled by his level of bhava and beyond. There is nothing that can stop him in his determination to preach and to serve devotees.
He surrendered to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, so does Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Dambakana Maharaj, I think this morning class, I heard only at the end, he did mention he feels that I never lost anything. I was just serving and serving and serving in Vrindavan. I lost classes. I didn't have time to read or anything. There was no internet. Most of the time, what do you call, mic was in the kitchen. It's not working. So,
Oh,
but now I realize I haven't lost. So, keep serving, keep serving, keep serving.
yeah,
Don't
there's no,
worry about anything else.
yeah. So nothing lost. It's all Krishna's
Nothing
arrangement.
left. Yeah.
The famous saying is service now and samadhi later.
Wonderful. Yes, mother. This is what that's what I heard.
Coming time.
Yeah.
Samadhi will come to you. You don't need to
Oh,
work for samadhi.
yeah. The service is samadhi, you answered. So there's some, we're seeing it in a practical modern context, because some examples there, different devotees and their determinations, and so we're reading and hearing a little bit about determinations that's needed at the stage of regulated devotion. So perhaps let's read a little bit more, shall we? And see, it's going to take us into, I think Maharaj will give some preliminary examples of determinations in Bhava. So perhaps who would like to read? Mother Gaia, did you manage to, perhaps you might not be with us now, did you manage to unmute? If you'd like to read, you still can. If not, we'll call on Kunamai. Bottom of 279, Mother. The following section, if I got the right place here.
Start.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The following section categorizes sankalpas in relation to their relevance to vow, the goal of sadhana
Can you
bhakti.
say she can't unmute?
Yeah, it's okay. I should try and work it out here. Just carry on.
Okay. It should be noted that this classification is a rule of thumb to assist devotees in evaluating how the varying types of sankalpas already described relate to devotional practice. It is a determination essential, optional, or detrimental? The classifications below will help answer that question. In both his Raga Vartma Chandrika and his summary study of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes of 5 aspects of spontaneous devotion as they relate to the devotees aspired for perfection. These are Bhavamaya, a self-identification whose nature is in harmony with one's aspired for mood of eternal service. Bhava Samadhi, practice that are related to that mood. Bhav Anukula, other practices that are favorable for it. Bhav Aviruddha, further activities that are not opposed to it. Bhav Virud, those practices deemed detrimental to one's aspired for mood of service. In this chapter, we shall use these same divisions to illustrate the 5 kinds of determination relating to the attainment of ecstatic devotion, bhav. This means that the word bhav, unless otherwise specified, does not refer to the kind of service a raga bhakta aspires for, but rather to the stage of devotion following sadhana that is aspired for both regulated and spontaneous devotees. Thus, our convention in the 5 varieties of bhav is slightly different from that of Chakravarti Thakur. Since our emphasis in this book is sadhana bhakti, our convention relates to bhakti in general and to the stages of ecstatic devotion, whereas that of the Acharya relates to Raga Bhakti, Bhakt's yearning for a mood of perfection, such as that of a cowherd boy. The variance is in two stages, is in reference to the kind of devotion and the kind of attainment that devotion targets. It will be evident to the learned student that while sankalpas are an integral part of sadhana, they serve the purpose of sadhana in different ways. The different limbs of bhakti serve different functions for the attainment of bhav, and so too do the sankalpas inherit in that development. Thus, determinations, regulated and spontaneous, may be classified in 5 ways, and these will now be named and described in relation to how they serve the attainment of bhav. Bhava Maya Sankalpas.
Just pause here a minute, just so everyone's clear what's being explained here. Maharaj is using as a blueprint a specific practice of those at the stage of bhava, and he's going to use that blueprint to help explain different determinations in a sadhana. You understand? So here at bhava on page 280, say bhava sambandhi. That means someone says at the stage of bhava, and they're inspired, their bhava is specifically inspired by the gopas mood of service to Krishna. So they will practice, or they will meditate upon that mood. That will be their specific practice, yeah? And they will also engage in activities in the hearing that are favorable to developing that mood. The second one, bhakti anukula, and bhakti aviruddha. They will not engage in activities that will not enhance their particular mood of relationship with Krishna. Yeah, so they won't absorb themselves in the study of the queens of Dwarka. Yeah, and then the last one, those practices deemed detrimental to one's aspired. I got that mixed up. The further activities that are not opposed to it. So they may do activities that may not be directly related to their relationship of Sakyaras, but the activities are not opposed to it. Yeah, so they will continue those activities. And the last one is the one I mentioned. Those which are directly opposed to it, like doing a study and studying the mood of the queens of Dwarka, for example. They're not going to do something like that. They won't be inspired, and it will be opposed to their specific mood. So Maharaj now is using that blueprint. He's going to take us through sadhana and how we can use these 5 as kind of to determine what is for the same principles. Did you understand? Is that?
Can I just
repeat back?
So when you are practicing Vedic Bhakti, so then you are doing everything. Like say you chanting, reading, you doing also you hearing everything, right? Across the board. Yeah. So then as one progresses, what I'm trying to understand from this. So as one progresses, then you will be channeling your feelings to certain goals, certain activities of Krishna.
Yeah,
you'll feel it. You'll feel it. It'll come automatic. You're not channeling. You feeling it like
channeling is an interesting word. Challenging the angels from heaven.
Come from within.
Yeah, like that's it. It will come.
Then, So then you will be inspired to read that kind of book or that kind of activities of Krishna, or when somebody's speaking about that kind of activity, your mind will go straight to it.
Yeah, that's it. Become basically.
Yeah, okay.
It will go from general to become more specific.
Yes.
So say general attractions, say for Goloka Vrindavan or to Krishna, But then as one advances, then it becomes more specific, and you will specifically, as you said, to enhance that mood, you will take up a particular type of Raganuga sadhana. Yeah, that Raganuga sadhana might be reading about the cowherd boys, or reading more about the gopis, or like that. So you're doing that to enhance your attraction, you know, and to as an aid to meditation as well during Nam Bhajan. So yeah, so you go from general, becomes more specific, and it gets very, very specific at latter stages.
At later stage.
Yeah.
And it is automatic. It'll just come from within. You will just get.
Yeah, well, automatic in the sense, if we're following really if we're following really nicely and we're following sincerely, then the process will have its effect, and it will come from within. Te samsatata yukdana, and it will be confirmed by without, from without, perhaps by consulting with advanced devotees. All right. So what you're saying is right.
Sorry.
And also, do you feel like the super soul is you kind of feel sometimes that you read this or you feel some kind of things, and like super soul is also in a way encouraging you, guiding you.
Yeah, got Krishna from within. Yeah, that's the whole point. Te samsatata yukdanam pajatam putipurvakam. Yeah, for those absorbed in serving me, I give the understanding. So he gives the understanding to the sadhakas, and he gives the understanding to those who are more spontaneous in their devotion. Yeah.
Prabhu, is this an example that it is given? Sorry to. You said general to specific. So here it says Raga Bhaktas yearning for a mood of perfection. So that is the specific service, mood of perfection. Is it right?
Mood, Sakiras, or the mood of the gopis, or the particular mood. Yeah, Raga Bhaktas, but maybe the queens of Dwarka. Actually, it wouldn't be Raga, it's Raga, but in the mood of awe and reverence. Another subject.
And also, Prabhu, whatever body we have, it doesn't matter. We can be now having male or female body, but our mood can be different because we don't know.
Yeah, that's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. Remember, we read that. That is some persons, remember those persons we spoke about who mistakenly think that by dressing like gopis and taking up a manner, even if they're men, that's going to invoke, Krishna's going to become attracted to them. Because they're men dressed up as gopis, they're trying, where they think, they're not. So, and as examples given at the sages of Dandakaranya, they was meditating upon the Gopal mantra, and they saw Ram, and they seeing Ram, it spontaneously reminded them of Gopal. It was like Gopal had manifested them, was always looking at Ram, and they desired to be like the gopis in their attraction to Gopal. But they were men, they were sages, men sages, but they was their internal bhava was gopi bhav. And all of our acharyas as well, isn't it? If you think about it, most of our acharyas, they have manjari bhav or gopi bhav, and they have male bodies. So these bodies we've had it's irrelevant to our constitutional position. We may have millions of male bodies, millions of female bodies, they're always changing. So, but the relationship with Krishna is it's not dependent upon whatever body you're in or not in. It's that's nectar devotion, describes that.
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. So let me just check the time. I've got a kind of a bus to catch, as they say. Got a train to catch. Should we just
a VIP treatment?
Sorry?
You're getting a VIP treatment.
Yeah, well, this, Well, I just moved room. There's a Maharaj is coming in the room I was, so I'll be moved next door. I'll be moving to Soho. So perhaps we'll stop here for today, I think, if that's
Yes.
okay with everyone. And
Where
remember,
are we?
we'll pick it up next week. I think I stopped on bottom of 280. 280. So we'll pick it up there, and tomorrow should be I'll be back at
Tomorrow?
I'll be back at base, so everything should be as per normal. So we can carry on. So tomorrow is questions Sulabhakti Chitamani, isn't it? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful discussion. I hope we become more determined after this. And looking forward to being with you tomorrow for our Krishna Katha. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Thank you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhu, I want to ask you a question about your god brother. Oh my lord.
Oh my
He's
Lord.
gone.
No,
Oh,
I'm still here.
okay. Prabhu, Ram Prasad Prabhu, is it okay if he can join this? I want to ask Mother Chandravali, but before that, I thought I would ask you.
No problem. Ram Prasad, do I know him? I guess I should know him.
Ram Prasad Prabhu is from Scotland, your god brother.
Oh, the one who does the sense, the one who makes all the sense, and
All the.
no, that's someone. Anyway, yeah, it's fine. I can't picture. Anyway, I can't picture him, but I'm sure I will. Yeah, it's no problem with me if he wants to join. Happy.
Okay.
Happy.
Keep forgetting asking both of you.
No
Okay.
problem. Check. Just check.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So shall I end? Shall I make someone else the host, Chandravali Machji? Oh, she's gone. All right. So I guess we'll just end it here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Bol, Hare Krishna.
Ram, 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 Hare.